Welcome to This Week in Basketball with your main man, Easy Leezy, and the place to be. It's hard to believe, but basketball season is right around the corner. And I don't know about you, but I'm not sure how I feel going into this season. There's a lot of players I like watching who I won't be able to watch this season because they're hurt. There's the ever-evolving drama of players that have yet again jumped to another team, or players that are still on teams that should or should not be moved, and so on and so forth. And while even the so-called experts can only hypothesize what could potentially happen this season, I for one know what I'd like to see, but most likely won't. So today, I bring you the top 8 things I hope to see this upcoming NBA season, but probably won't happen. And no, this is not a prediction. I'm not in the future telling business. There are a hell of a lot of people that get paid a shit ton of money that get it wrong, often. So why bother? This is merely just wishful thinking. Now, I know this is a top 8, but with any top whatever list, you know there's going to be an honorable mention. So it really doesn't make it a top 8, it makes it a top 9, but I was on the fence whether or not I wanted to include this one in the general list because I really wasn't sure about it. But I figured, why not? So before we get to the top 8, here's the honorable mention, which is better jerseys. Now, I have seen the 2025-2026 jersey lineup for each team, and everything is pretty much same old, same old. I will say the rebrand for the Magic, while I'll always rock with the pinstripe, I'll be honest, the logo I just can't rock with. And obviously, if they're going to do better jerseys, it's not going to happen now because the season's only a month away. But even still, some of the City Connect jerseys are terrible. Absolutely terrible. The jerseys in general are bland and uninspired. We know this. I remember when the Heat came out with the Miami Vice jerseys, it seemed like it was just a random occurrence, and it worked. And that seemed to have sparked a whole new generation of making custom jerseys for certain situations. But I felt like in that instance, they just did it to do it, to be fun. But as I say, money ruins everything. And once they saw money, they were like, hey, we can make custom jerseys every year. It's like, no, because then you go ruin the essence of the entire thing. And I think that's something that needs to be brought back to the league. Rarity is exciting. Creativity is exciting. You want to feel like this is something special and just not something to line the pockets of already rich people. I want one franchise to be like, you know what? Screw it. We're going to do our own thing. Like I've always wanted the Warriors to do an homage to the Warriors movie and make their jerseys like the Warriors outfits. Or do a switch night where all the other regional sports teams wear the colors of the others. It's nothing new, but for the Bay Area region, it would be fun to see a Warriors-Niners jersey or a pinstripe Warriors-Giants jersey. But one night only, or like every Friday game in November or something. And I'll say this now, roast me if you want to, but I'd love to see the Kings bring back those gold jerseys. Maybe a bit more updated for the 40th season in SAC. I could possibly be biased because I'm 40 and I was born and raised in SAC, so a rare jersey like that would be worth going to a game and getting. But even still, it would be nice to see character and creativity back in jerseys again. Okay, now without further ado, here's the top 8. Number 8, LeBron announcing his retirement. Now, I honestly think that when the NBA wants LeBron to retire, he'll retire. That day can't come soon enough. But as long as he can continue to play at a high enough level, it seems as though we'll probably be stuck with LeBron for another few years. I just want it to finally be done because once he does announce his retirement, it's obviously going to be milked to no end. And it's going to make this particular season perhaps unbearable to a degree that's going to sour the entire season. Number 7, the New York Knicks winning the NBA championship. Now, obviously, there's a lot of people who would love to see this. Stephen A. Smith is one of them, Spike Lee, etc., and so forth. Now, while I'm not a dedicated Knicks fan, I would love to see the Knicks win the championship because not only would it be good for that organization, but it would be good for the history of the NBA. The New York Knicks are one of the most storied franchises and they have not won a championship in 50 plus years. And if there's any year where the sea has departed for an easy route to the finals, it's this season. Plus, it would add yet another new team to the historic decade of a different team winning a title every year. Number 6, I want to see the Kings be a tough Western Conference playoff threat. I don't think the roster is championship caliber, but there's no reason why the talent on this team can't compete with the other teams in the conference, or any team for that matter, and not struggle to make the playoffs. I'm a big fan of Domantas Sabonis, and at this point in his career, he needs to take that next step in being the guy who can take a team to the playoffs on his back, and not only be a no-doubt all-star, but a no-doubt definitive top 5 center of the league, taking this team to another playoff comfortably. And I like Doug Christie as this team's coach. While he is inexperienced, he'll have a full offseason to really establish his brand of coaching and to develop a rooted culture and style of basketball that would allow for sustained success, stability, and consistency. While I'm not the deepest Kings fan, it's still a team I root for. There's been so much mismanagement, confusion, and incompetence. I just want to see something new, different, and believable, especially with someone like Doug Christie at the helm, because that would make the story even more special. Number 5. Okay, this one might be crazy. Luka Doncic winning the MVP. I will admit that I am a fan of Luka Doncic. Not so much his pouty diva ref whining, but since the beginning, I was a big fan of his game. 1, because I like big guards, and 2, I like skillful players that can do a lot of things on the court, and Luka was one of those players. Is one of those players. Now, not being a Laker fan does kind of put me at a very unsuiting situation, but strictly from a player's perspective, a fan's perspective, Luka has been consistently one of the 3 to 4 best players in the league, almost since he entered the league, and he certainly put up the numbers to be considered MVP. And I think this upcoming season hopefully is the one that puts the exclamation point on what has eluded him so far in his career. I just wish he were still in the Mavericks when it did happen, but that's another story. Number 4. Adam Silver deciding to step down as commissioner and relinquishing the duties to a former player turned exec, but more so a black man, and it being the first league to have a black commissioner. Now, my thoughts on Adam Silver are not outright negative, but definitely unfavorable. I heard on a radio station recently, someone called him the worst commissioner in sports. And while I get the sentiment, I don't think he's the worst commissioner in sports because they're all terrible. Except maybe the hockey guy, but nobody cares about him anyway. But he definitely could be better. I just don't think he has the capacity to be. I think the job was too heavy for him to begin with, and he's never quite been able to grasp the enormity of being such a powerful figure in such a powerful position. I not only would like to see someone who's qualified to take that position, but also someone that represents damn near 90% of the league and understands the real change and growth the league needs. Number 3, one of the Ball brothers having a complete and meaningful season. Now, the Ball family saga, as entertaining as it's been, seems to have peaked in the early instances of their whole dynamic, because neither Ball brother has really done anything to warrant any type of long-term relevancy. LaMelo, the best of the Ball bunch, can't seem to stay on the court any given season, while Lonzo's ligamental liability has been a work in progress since before he was even drafted. Look, they're great basketball players to watch and root for, but they were already famous before they even stepped foot on an NBA court, and they've already made more than enough money long before they ever signed an NBA contract. So what is their purpose? For a lot of players, when it comes to being an NBA player nowadays, it's money first, fame second, and basketball is third. But for these guys, they already had the money and the fame. So realistically, leaving a mark on the game other than a braggadocious father and a handful of highlights should be the priority, right? But can you legitimately ask the question, is it? Number 2, now I mentioned LeBron earlier, and if it's not outright obvious, I'm not the biggest fan of LeBron as it is. But I told myself years ago that if at some point he does retire, his final game should be one of epic proportions, much like Kobe's was. But instead of scoring 60 points, I thought he would gain so much respect from me if he went out on his final game and put up a 20-20-20 game. But since Jokic did it last year with relative ease, it's no longer impressive, no matter how many points he scores with it. So then I thought to myself, what would be a statistical feat that would be amazing to see and experience? The league has gotten so oversaturated with statistical achievements, it doesn't feel like anything is special anymore. But given that thought, I do think that if at one point we see a quintuple-double, that would actually be a once-in-a-lifetime level occasion. Obviously, a quadruple-double is rare enough and on its own would be amazing to see. There's really less than a handful of guys who I think could even do that. But in this instance, there's really only one person I think that can possibly pull it off. And finally, with number 1, I want to see Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley have a sit-down one-on-one to hash out all their disagreements and differences. I think if you're a true fan of basketball, then you're a fan of both these men, their stories, and their former friendship. Especially now that both of them are in their 60s, and given what happened tragically with Kobe Bryant, I was very much glad that before he unfortunately passed away, he and Shaq were able to reconcile and we got to see it. So I hate for these two gentlemen to not be able to sit down and reconcile their differences before time unexpectedly takes the opportunity away. With the NBA now going back to NBC and Michael Jordan seemingly being a part of it and Chuck being a part of it, they're now under the same umbrella. I think for inside the NBA, it'd be a great story for them to build throughout the season and possibly do it at the All-Star game. It would at least make the All-Star game more intriguing. And that'll do it. If you like this video, you know what to do. Hit the helpers and pad the stats. And let me know in the comments what are some things you hope to see but probably won't happen this upcoming NBA season. This has been Easy Leasy with This Week in Basketball. See ya.